Dave Galair, you're very welcome to the 66th Cork City Sports, coming to you live from the Cork Institute of Technology. On co-commentary with me this evening, two former Irish Olympians, Jesse Barr and Dick Hooper. Jesse, great event to look forward to tonight. Lots of international stars here. Are there any particular races that you're looking forward to?
Well, I suppose I'd have to be biased and talk about the 400-metre hurdles, the men's 400-metre hurdles today. Javier Culson has decided to come back to us again and grace us with his presence. He was athlete of the meet last year on an exceptional 48.4. He doesn't really have as much competition as he would usually have. Obviously, my brother is not here, so yeah, I'm obviously looking forward to seeing what he can do. He's a really classy athlete, but I am actually really looking forward to the distance races. The two 3Ks, men's and women's, are both really stacked, and there'll be lots of kind of rematches of Morton and last year's Cork City Sports. So really, I think every event is going to be something to look forward to. It's hard to pick out one highlight.
Yeah, she's stolen your thunder there, Dick. I thought you were going to talk about those long distance races.
I have no problem reiterating what Jesse would say. I'm looking forward to the mile. There's a great tradition in the mile here in Cork, especially over the years. They've had such great milers themselves, and in the past we've had Ovett, Walker, Coughlin, Sydney Marie, the works here. I was in Morton last week, and a guy called Robert Domanich won the mile, a thriller, and he's here again tonight. So I'm looking forward to seeing when he pull off the double.
Well, some great athletes on show here tonight in Cork, and I've been speaking to a couple of former greats as well. Well, I'm joined now by two of Cork's finest, Sonia and Marcus O'Sullivan. And Sonia, you were writing in the Irish Times during the week about how special this event is to you.
It's always great, to come back to the Cork City Sports. It's where I got to start, running on the international stage. So, yeah, I have lots of happy memories of coming to the Cork City Sports. And, I suppose when I first started, I was looking up to Marcus, and he was quite happy for me to come along and share the stage with him, because it can be quite a bit of pressure when you're competing at home and your friends and family in the stands. So, but yeah, always a great atmosphere at the Cork City Sports. So delighted to be here tonight.
And a great crowd out to support the Irish athletes who are competing tonight, Marcus, but a great international flavour tonight as well. Any particular races you're looking forward to?
I've already seen one of them, and that was my son decided that one of his dreams he always wanted to do was run the Cork City Sports, and he hasn't raced in a couple of years, but he wanted to come home, wanted to come to Ireland, wanted to run this race, so it was very special for me and his mother here tonight, just watching him. And then I have some athletes in the races on in the evening, particularly in the mile with Patrick Tiernan, Sam McEntee, who I coached when he was in college, and these are Villanovans, and then we have Sheila Reid in the events tonight, and then we also have Nicole Shepard racing tonight. So there's a tremendous Villanova contingent here, which is special for me.
Sure.
Along with the fact that I'm home, nostalgically being a part of Cork tonight, but not having to race, which is nice.
And of course, there's an O'Sullivan Jr. running as well.
Yeah, so kind of sandwiched, I suppose. We're sandwiched between the races. Yeah, my daughter is going to run the Junior 800 pretty soon, so looking forward to watching that.
Lots to look forward to here tonight at the Cork Institute of Technology. Big races still to come. The two runners from Ghana in lanes 1 and 2, Gemma Achiampong and Flings Owusu. That's lanes 1 and 2. Jodie Williams of Britain, a semi-finalist in the Rio Games. Barbara Pierre, watch out for her, in lane number 4. Crystal Emmanuel of Canada in lane 5. Alexis Love of the USA, lane 6. Phil Healy, local girl from Bandon Athletic Club, in lane 7. And Rachel Miller of Great Britain in lane number 8. It's the Centra women's 100 metres. Barbara Pierre in lane 4 represented Haiti in the 08 games in Beijing. She's very quick, sub 11 seconds. Perhaps Jodie Williams in lane 3 and Crystal Emmanuel in 5. Either side of her going to be her biggest competitors, and straight away Barbara Pierre is quickly away in lane number 4. She's looking very strong, but she's got Crystal Emmanuel for company coming towards the line. It's going to be Pierre just from Crystal Emmanuel. That's the 1-2. Barbara Pierre in a time of 11:32. As Jesse was saying, the windy conditions maybe not ideal for the sprinters. Big smile on her face, and an impressive performance from Crystal Emmanuel in lane number 5 as well.
Yeah, Barbara here in lane 4 was the eventual winner. She's a 60-metre specialist. She's actually the record holder in AIT, and went on from AIT last year to win the World Indoor Championship. So maybe this bodes well coming back to Ireland. Crystal Emmanuel pushed her all the way, and really in the closing stages was closing in on her, probably had that better strength. strength. We'll see her later in the 200 metres as well, to see maybe that could be where her strengths lie.
On the replay, they're just seeing Flings Owusu of Ghana getting up for third place as well. Good run by her in lane number 2, but very, very impressive from the 30-year-old Haitian-born Barbara Pierre.
I live in the U.S., so you know, we're like a whole bunch of horse, so all the time, 24/7, I would say.
And did you think you had it won, Crystal?
I wasn't sure. I kept going to the line, you know, keeping my form and fighting to the end.
But you're okay. I mean, you got what you came for, which is a really competitive race here.
Yeah, going into Worlds, you know, I have to get my mind right and get a race in to see, you know, how I'll do in the international. So coming out here and competing with the great ladies in the field was pretty awesome for me.
Same for you, Barbara. You got what you came for, and it's going to be good for you for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I have to go to Monaco now, and then I'm going to go home. I need to go home for a little bit and see my family, kind of get my mind right a little bit. So that's really all.
We have a really, really fast men's 100 metres lining up here. We have some really, really top sprinters. Edward Alonso, again, a better as a 200 metre sprinter, but he was a world championship silver medalist. He's in lane 6.
In lane 1, Simon McGagway of South Africa in best number 278, 31 years of age now, gold medalist at the World University Games. Manuel Matadi from Liberia in lane 2, 283. Ramon Gittens ran in Rio in the 100 and 200 metres. He's in lane 3. Sydney Siam, there he is, 276 from Zambia, 19 years of age. He's the man we were calling, well, in some quarters he's been called the new Bolt. Sean McLean in lane 5 from Raleigh, North Carolina, number 279. Alonso Edward, 281 in lane 6 from Panama. He's been a twice Olympian. Ryan Shields, 284 of Jamaica, is in lane 7. 34 years of age now. And Everton Clark, 24 years of age from Jamaica. He's in lane 8. Alonso Edward in lane 6, McLean in 5, and Sydney Siam in 4 would be the 3 you would expect to do. But Alonso Edward has made a poor start, and he's not really going to get involved unless he can finish like a train, and he's not going to. It's going to be very tight. It looks like it might be lane number 5, and Sean McLean just getting there, 10:62.
I would have said Ramon Gittens with them as well. It was him I would have thought was the first to cross the line, so I don't envy whoever's making that judgment.
Very, very tight, mind you. I'd bow to your greater knowledge.
Very interesting that the time there was slower than the first race.
Yeah, although to be expected, I suppose.
After all the lethargy, yeah.
10:62 is the time on the clock here. Not a really spectacular time considering there's people who have run sub 10 in this race. Pretty average enough time for these guys.
Alonso Edward, a real disappointment.
Yeah, Alonso Edward was way off the pace. He looked like, to be honest, he just kind of gave up. He's maybe has that 200. He really did give up. Feet went on the brakes.
Okay, you call this photo finish now. Come on.
Actually, you know what? You're lane 7 for me, I think. Ryan Shields.
I'm still favouring McLean.
It's so hard to tell. There's so many different angles. I wouldn't want to be the one with that photo finish. But
women's hammer, and the winner was from Sweden, Ida Storm. New Cork City Sports record for her of 71.19. Very close to her season's best of 71.52. This just took place a short time ago. The Swedish Ida Storm, European Championship 2014 competitor. And there's Cara Kennedy from Ferrybank. You'd know her well, Jessie.
I do.
And she finished in 4th position with a throw of 58.09, close to her season's best of 60.49. But Ida Storm, the winner. Next up on track is the 400 metres hurdles, sponsored by O'Leary Insurance Group. We have Dermot Clancy in lane 1 from Abbey Striders. Timmy Crowe, Dooneen Athletic Club in lane 2. Paul Bennett from Britain, from Cardiff, is in lane 3. Curtis Beach, the American, has a PB of 49.83. Run in Claremont in June. He's in lane 4. Javier Culson, the star of the show in many respects, in lane 5. Niall Flannery from Britain in lane 6. Cameron French, talented 25-year-old from New Zealand, is in lane 7. And Owen Power from Kilkenny in lane 8. So they're away in the 400 metres hurdles. And first to rise is Javier Culson in lane 5. He's made up the ground on Niall Flannery outside him already. Oh, he's striding away from French and Power, who are also outside him. Really, really elegant hurdler. You can see the class. Inside him, Curtis Beach is running a good race in lane number 4. But Culson looking very good.
Coulson just has this race all his own way. He's eaten up the stagger on every single one inside him. As I said, it really is going to be a battle for second and third position. Now Flannery and Curtis Beach are pretty much neck and neck here at the moment as they come into the second to last hurdle.
Coulson just tying up a little bit coming down the straight as he...
We have to remember this headwind that they have.
He's got enough in hand. He's going to win the race. And inside him it is going to be Curtis Beach second. Good race for the third place finish. Cameron French from New Zealand finished well outside Niall Flannery, but Coulson, class act.
Yeah, Coulson was a class act, and I'm looking at the time, 49.79. He would be disappointed that it's a second outside his season's best and 2 seconds outside his personal best, but conditions weren't great and he didn't really have anyone to push him. When you come into that windy home straight, you really need someone to push you, or else you're just going to let the latch get the better of you. As you can see, the 3 boys behind him, Curtis Beach, Niall Flannery and Cameron French in the all black of lane 7, they were really pushing each other for that second position, and just had it was just Cameron French, I think, who dipped for third against Niall Flannery, and Curtis Beach a second place in Ireland in 2 weeks. So really good race. A little bit behind where the Irish boys in lanes 1, 2 and 3. But yeah, it was really about those 4 in the middle lanes.
Men's 100 in just a moment, but now it's time for the Henry Ford and Sons 800 metres for women. And again, some very, very talented athletes in this race. Watch for Laura Russler out in lane number 7 from Fargo, North Dakota. She's a sub 2-minuter. She ran 1:59.54 in Torrance in America in April of this year. She's in lane number 7. Also in lane 2, Dana Meck and Cecilia Borowski, and Kiara Brown in lane 3, a talented American as well. CC Brown, they call her, maybe it's easier to pronounce than the Kiara, C-E-A-I-R-A.
Yeah, a number of these women actually are doing a bit of an Irish tour at the moment, and Cecilia Borowski in lane 2 there, Selma Kajan, excuse me, in lane 3.
There's Laura Russler.
There's Laura Russler, the only sub 2-minute runner in this field. She made it to the Olympics last year on the US team, very, very competitive team, so that shows her calibre.
Sharing the lane, obviously there's more than 8 runners, so a couple of the runners, as we see there, are sharing the lane. Is that a problem for the runners?
It will be when they come to the break after 100 metres, so around this bend you're going to see them all break to try and get to the inside lane, and this is where it becomes elbows out and whoever can get to the front, and it becomes a bit of a cross country. So with that many people it can get a bit messy, but once the race gets into full flow, it should be okay.
Dick, you're our elbows out.
Elbows out. There's an exceptionally big field there, which means that it is very physical, and you do really have to throw out your elbows to look after yourself. The pace is taken out by Louise Shanahan, who runs for Leevale, and I presume she's under instructions to bring them through in about 59-60 seconds. It's going to be tough to break 2 minutes tonight. There's only 2 ladies in the field have actually broken 2 minutes in the past. That's Hannah England and Laura Rosler. The form girl would look to be Borowski, but let's see as they approach the bell what the pace is and how committed the field is to taking on that pace.
At the moment it's Cecilia Borowski who is chasing our pacemaker Louise Shanahan. Also up in the van is the runner from Trinidad and Tobago, Alina Brooks, number 58, and just behind her is Laura Russler. The field quite congested now as they go down the back straight, as Louise Shanahan's job is done and she drops out, and it is Cecilia Borowski who's still leading.
She doesn't look convincing enough in the lead. She has a whole pack of them on her shoulder there, and she looks like she's labouring, to be honest with you. She's working really hard, and there's a lot of girls making moves.
That's Dana Meck there in number 52 in the yellow top. She competed both Morton and League Slip, so she's been in Ireland for a while. She's on the shoulder there of Laura Rosler, who's in number 51, but it's really going to be all down to the sprint finish.
So Rosler takes them into the home straight. She's pulling away now from Dana Meck. Coming up on the outside is CC Brown, but it is Laura Rosler. She's got a couple of metres to spare, approaching the line now. Comfortable run by Laura Rosler. CC Brown is second, good run by her, and in third place Cecilia Borowski. So Laura Rosler in a time of 2:02.95. Again, that's not going to set any records, but she looked pretty comfortable coming down the last 20 metres or so there.
Yeah, she did, and I mean, she was the form athlete coming in here, and she kind of held on. She ran a really good race. She didn't take it out too hard. She sat on the shoulder of the pacemaker and of Dana Meck when she was kind of making her big moves, and then just kind of took it out from that last 100 metres. And it was a clever race. She didn't have to take the win. She stood behind other people and let them break the win for her, which is a really clever move on a day like this. The tall blonde figure of Hannah England there, number 64, better known as 1500 metre runner, actually surprised me at how close she was and how in contention she was. She's only done one 800 metre race this year, so a little bit out of it at the end of it, but really tight race.
Cece Brown, who finished second, was fourth in the Morton meeting last week, so she's one of those athletes that you were talking about who are doing a few events, Letterkenny and so on here.
I think sometimes the favourite wins, and Laura Rossler was the fastest in the race, and she duly did the business. Hannah England is more a 1500 metre runner, so she would have been using that 800 metre race for pace.
Okay, Laura, great run from you. You looked in control the whole way through there.
Yeah, felt pretty good. I knew it wouldn't be super fast. It's a little breezy, but I felt good and controlled, and I just was trying to go for the win. It's nice to have a win.
Tough conditions for you, but a good season overall. A mixed season in some ways as well.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. It was good after coming off injuries the last couple of years, and just a competitive field and a very great crowd, so it was fun to come away with the win.
Thanks a lot, Laura.
Thank you.
So that's the winner of the women's 800, Laura Rossler. The men's 800 coming up very shortly. Michael Rimmer in lane number 6 for Great Britain, a semi-finalist in Rio. He was also in the heats in London 2012. Some decent athletes inside him as well. Jan Kubista is in lane number 2.
Yeah, and that's Luke Matthews there, number 28, part of the Melbourne Track Club. So he's coached by Nick Bideau, who's floating around here somewhere with his wife Sonia, obviously. So really strong competitive fields that we have ahead of us here.
Charles Jock from America in this one as well, tall figure. We have a pacemaker, Elliot Slade from Britain, is taking them out. Dick, and taking them out at a fair old clip.
He is, yeah. I'd say Slade is under instructions to probably pull them through around 51 seconds. Mike Rimmer is the class of the field, but he is pushing on a little bit at this stage. He does have a personal best of 143. That's from a few years ago. He ran 146 recently. He'll be there or thereabouts. I kind of have a sneaking fancy for Luke Matthews here.
Luke Matthews, the Australian.
Yeah, Luke Matthews there, number 28. He's keeping in a safe kind of outside, not getting too bunched in there in the night kit, the blue and the pink. He's coached by Nick Bideau. He's trained in a really high quality training group in Australia, and the number of them here tonight. I think he's going to be the one to watch. I think he's going to be very hard to catch, but I think that's Antonio Mascal, pardon me, in the blue and yellow Barbados, who's really kind of pushing him there, and maybe could be a surprise winner for this tick. I don't know.
Yeah, the pacemaker's done an absolutely superb job. He's going to get them to 600 metres. He'd probably be thinking about winning it, but he's called it a day at this stage, and he set it up nicely there.
Yeah, Antonio Mascal from Barbados taking it away. He was third in the Morton games there recently. He's got a few metres to spare coming around the home bend and into the home straight, but can he hang on? Antonio Mascal, he's ahead at the moment. Jan Kubista, number 30, is behind him. You see Michael Rimmer, the face grimacing, but looks like Antonio Mascal from Barbados is just going to hold on from Kubista. He does just. It's a win for Antonio Mascal from
And he's rewarded
Barbados
with a personal best, a narrow personal best, but a personal best at the end of the day. He'll be absolutely delighted with that. He ran brilliantly, I have to say.
Yeah, 147.46 personal best. Shaves just a fraction off his 147.68, but a PB is a PB, that doesn't matter. In second place was the tall figure of Jan Kubista from Czech Republic, who actually has a world or European indoor 4x4 bronze medal. So he has the 400 metre speed and strength, and it actually stood to him here against all these longer distance athletes.
And the point you were making there, Dick, about Elliot Slade, he really took them out.
Oh, he did, and he set our winner up superbly for it. The pace was just magic, and I'm glad he hung on because he was brave. He was the one man who attacked the pacemaker and went with the move, so just about got there.
Just looking at Mascal, actually, he did just run slightly quicker than that at the Morton the other day, 147.33. So it's not quite a PB, but he'll still be really pleased. That's consistent running from him.
Yeah. And at this stage, when weather's not that great, to be able to run consistently like that, if you run consistently like that, that's when you're looking to drop a new personal best. And maybe your next race, who's to say he might not drop down to 146.
Big smile on his face. And why not after that?
So we're moving straight on to the women's 200 now. That's Jodie Williams in shot. She was in the 100 metres, was really a bit off the mark in the 100, but 200 metre specialist. She was second or in the semi-final in Rio last year. She trains at the Altus Training Centre in Arizona. So in good form, a bit off her best this year. That's Phil Healy, local Bandon girl again, was in the 100 earlier. 200 is one of her better strengths. She's going to the World University Games later this year in Taipei for the 200 metres. So she's probably a better 200 runner than she is 100 as Phil. But
that experience she picked up at the European Indoors this year won't do her any harm at all either.
No, it'll be brilliant. I mean, she did the 60 and the 400 metres. I mean, if you're ever looking to get a vast range of experience, those are the two events to do. So this will be a good test for Phil. She's right in the middle lane 4, so brilliant. Has Crystal Emmanuel outside her, World and Olympic 4x100 metre finalist, and she has Kimberly Baptiste on the inside of her in lane 3, who was 4th at the recent British Championships in a big PB of 23.3. So really good race here.
Good race, all right. Crystal Emmanuel in lane 5, Jodie Williams in lane 6, and straight away Crystal Emmanuel has made a really good start there in lane 5. She was impressive in the 100 metres, finishing second earlier on, and she leads them coming down the home straight here. It's Crystal Emmanuel from Canada in lane number 5. The race is going to be for second place. Emmanuel has won this by a mile. Crystal Emmanuel, very impressive, and just getting up for second, Jodie Williams of Britain.
And 22.51, if that clock is right, that's a PB for Crystal Emmanuel. 22.69 personal best. I don't think she can quite believe it herself, the Canadian. She looked a bit shocked when she saw the time. She had a brilliant start, really ed up the bend on Jodie Williams and everyone else outside her. Phil Healy had a really good last 100, and she chased Emmanuel all down, but it really was from the get-go. Emmanuel was in this to win it, and despite the conditions we've been talking about, ran a really, really good time. 22.51, probably one of the faster times we've seen in Ireland in the last couple of years.
I mean, to win it and to win a race by that margin, like nobody else in the shot there. She crossed the line almost.
And then Jodie Williams for second, and Phil Healy just pipped in for third. I'd be interested to see what Phil ran there, probably in or around her personal best.
But 22.51 is a meet record, so Crystal Emmanuel has beaten Laverne Jones, who held that record previously. Really, really impressive performance by her.
Really good run too by Phil Healy. I love her attitude to competition. She always seems to be up for a race every...
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt to go to Phil Healy, who just ran in the women's 200 metres.
Another good race from you this season. How did it go tonight?
Absolutely, it's a massive PB, so I think it was 23.32. I'm not sure of the wind, but 23.65 was my old PB. I ran in Morton Games last week into a strong headwind, so I knew it was just 1 or 2 more races away from just getting that last 20. So I'm really pleased to come away with a new PB in such a field like this, and it's cold, it's windy, so to come away, I'm really, really happy.
Yeah, like you say, it wasn't the easiest of conditions out there.
No, definitely isn't the easiest of conditions, but when you have a meet with such high caliber athletes, you forget about conditions when you're actually running, and you're just chasing the ones down ahead of you, and there was a great Canadian outside me and Jodie Williams outside of that again, so this is probably one of the biggest fields that I've been racing against, so to come away third place with a new PB, I'm absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, great season, and as well doing it in front of your own fans, it's great.
Absolutely, I love Cork City Sports every single year. I ran the 100 as well, and the fields are just so good this year, and that brings out the best of the athletes, and I'll take a huge boost from this going away into nationals at the weekend and then on to World University Games for at the end of August, so that's really looking forward to that.
Congratulations, Phil.
Thank you.
I'll tell you something, her enthusiasm is infectious, isn't it?
I know, you can't help but smile when you see her talk. She's always so passionate, she's so enthusiastic about athletics, and great to see her come away with a PB in front of her home crowd, like you said.
And you're very welcome back to the Cork City Sports 66th running of this event. This is the start of the women's 3,000 metres, sponsored by Sport Ireland and Athletics Ireland. A lot of decent athletes in this particular race. We join the race live now.
We're actually coming up to the 1K mark here, Con.
5 laps to go, just coming up to the 1K mark, and they've been going at a pretty steady clip, Dick.
Yeah, we're on exactly 9-minute pace actually. They've gone through in 3 minutes, so there's a lot of the girls have personal bests in around the 9-minute mark. I see Michelle Finn there of Leevale, who's had a great last few years qualifying for Olympics and World Championships and European Championships and European cross countries, and I presume a local hero down here, as she well deserves to be. Good to see her in there with the local support. It was a very good field. Sheila Reid from Canada, who a former Villanovan, she's in there. She's got a personal best of 8:44, and I know Jessie has strong hopes for Camille Buscombe from New Zealand.
Yeah, no, I just think Camille, who's she's a fellow New Balance athlete with the long blonde ponytail and number 107 there. She's about 3rd or 4th in the pack. Actually a 10K runner. Qualified for the London World Championships, having taken 41 seconds off her personal best. So I love to see someone like that who really, you know, just kind of surprises everyone. So real talent, but I don't know if this race is going to be too short for her.
Lauren Paquette is leading them out there, number 103. She's a 31-year-old American. She actually ran in the Olympic trials twice in 08 and 2016. Didn't make it to the games, but came close.
Yeah, they're still on 9-minute pace there as they go through with 1,400 meters gone. Large pack altogether there. There's a lot of girls in there who are still very comfortable at this. I would expect this to pick up on the second half of the race. I'd imagine we'll get a time in the low 850s if the pattern continues as it's continuing now.
Paquette still leading them out. She's got Marielle Hall there, number 102, just behind her, and Sheila Reid. We heard Marcus O'Sullivan talking about Sheila Reid earlier on. The Canadian, she's in 3rd position, with Nicole Tully, another talented American, in 4th position there, number 101. She has a season's best of 8:54, Nicole Tully, so she can fairly motor. But Paquette has been out front for a long time.
Yeah, that trio there from the States of Tully, Hall, Paquette, they're I wonder, are they running as a team, because they seem to be on the same wavelength there. Sheila Reid is lurking ominously. Very hard to call at this stage. Just look at their faces. There are so many of them so comfortable at that pace.
It's quite tightly bunched as they cross the line with 3 laps to go. There's probably 6-9 athletes in that leading group, and any one of the 9 could probably go on and win this race, certainly at the moment, but I suppose the class will tell over the closing laps. It's still Lauren Paquette, the American, leading them out, and still Sheila Reid in 2nd position. Sheila Reid, who qualified for the 1,500 metres at the World Championships in London and also ran in the Olympic Games, so she has a bit of history. Number 121, Sheila Reid in the shades there. Marielle Hall in 3rd position, just 5'3". This is a presentation for the men's 800s.
Ladies and gentlemen, your appreciation one more time for 123 in the 800 meters for men, proudly sponsored by the Cork City Council.
Meantime, Lauren Paquette has been very brave.
Antonio Moskal in the gold medal position. Kuvica, Czech Republic 2nd.
Alicia Ring is in there also,
that presentation taking place while this race continues, and it is Lauren Paquette who still leads from Sheila Reid. Nicole Tully on the outside in the blue singlet, just coming up on the shoulder now of Marielle Hall with a couple of laps to go. And also in there is number 117, and that's Rachel Cliff, another Canadian. But Paquette still leading them out, very tightly bunched though, Dick.
This is as even-paced a race as you will ever see. They went through 1K in 3 minutes, and guess what? They went through 2K in 6 minutes. They're locked into 72-second laps. It has to pick up shortly because they can't all win, and there's about 10 of them in that bunch, and a lot of them can break 9 minutes comfortably, and it's about time one of them got their act together, would be my coaching philosophy.
Well, Nicole Tully in 3rd position looks like she's looming. She is looming on the shoulder of Sheila Reid, who in turn is looming on the shoulder of Laura Paquette as they go down the backstraight. Marielle Hall just looks like she might be feeling the pace a little bit in 4th position there as they round the bend. Coming in about 500 meters from home. Paquette, if this was the Tour de France, she's been leading them out, I think, but now they're going to take her.
This might be the move. Sheila Reid seems anxious, or is she staying on the shoulder of 101? She's recognizing it. Here we go with a lap to go. Let's see what they do. They've gone through in 7:50. They've slipped from their 72 seconds lap to a 74, but this one will be faster.
Rachel Cliff is still there, the other Canadian. She's in third position, 29-year-old. But it is Sheila Reid who's leading them down the back straight now. Nicole Tully just a metre back from her, and then back to Rachel Cliff. It looks like these three will be the 1, 2, 3. Unless something dramatic happens in the last couple of hundred metres. But Sheila Reid, two-time national champion, former Villanova, she leads, but right on her shoulder now is Nicole Tully, the 30-year-old from Florida, as they come around the top of the bend.
Well, Reid should make it tough for Tully coming around the bend, because Tully had a glance behind, whether it was a glance of despair, I'm settling for second, or whether it was checking how she would make her move. I think it was the first one, because Sheila Reid is about to pull away now and show the strength that's in her legs. She has the speed to bring it right the way home.
It is Sheila Reid who is going to win the women's 3,000 metres. She's won by a couple of metres from Nicole Tully. Good race for third position as well. Eventually Lauren Paquette fighting her way back, having lost the leading position for a third place finish. But very impressive from Sheila Reid. Marcus O'Sullivan, before the programme started, was saying that this was one of the athletes he was looking forward to looking at tonight. She was very impressive there, held off the challenge from Tully in confident fashion.
Yeah, it was a hallmark Villanovan type kick. They like to sit and make one move and one move only. She moved at the bell, but it wasn't the decisive one, obviously. She came off the bend very, very strongly there. Tully was running for second from there on in. You could see it. Reid just had her in her pocket and just pulled away on the home straight. Looked very strong. Interestingly, she ran the last lap in about 62 seconds, which is good shifting.
Yeah, Sheila Reid has a lot of championship experience. She's twice NCAA champion. She actually won the 1500 and the 5k at the NCAAs all the way back in 2011. So she has the strength and she has the speed of the longer and the shorter distance. And that's her there. She looks happy. 8:54, 8:54.61 is on the clock. Really, really good time. Fast time to see a sub 9, especially when conditions have been affecting other races and other times. But yeah, she was the standout. Nicole Tully, another former Villanovan, pushed her the whole way, but she really did make, you know, light work of that last 100 metres.
The race is coming thick and fast now. This is the men's 3,000 metres, sponsored by John Buckley Sports. And this is one of those races where there's a few that you could pick. When you look at the runners and riders, Reid Buchanan, who was athlete of the meeting here last year, he won this race last year, the American number 80. And Brandon Doughty has run a 7:47. Collis Birmingham, the Australian, who's over here, he was in action the other day at the Morton Stadium. Jordan Mann, Jack Rayner, the young Australian as well. There's a number of good athletes in this to keep an eye out for.
I think this has the makings of maybe the race of the meeting. There was a fabulous 5,000 metres in Santry last week, which was won in 13:19 by a man who goes in the mile later. But there was a great battle for second place between Collis Birmingham, who's won the 3,000 metres here twice before, and Ben Connor from the UK. So they're renewing hostilities here, amongst others. Dewey Griffiths is here from the UK as well. And here we're looking for a 62-second type pace to bring us home around 7:45. Collis Birmingham, he's been around a long time. He's a very, very good 10,000. That's probably his best time. He's a 27:29 10,000, which is really right up there with everybody bar the Africans. And he's been around, as I say, for a long time. So it'd be interesting to see how he fares out tonight. He's in third place there at the moment behind the pacemaker.
And that's Jack Rayner there in all black, leading them at the moment, number 96 with his trademark mustache. He kind of burst onto the scene this year, beating Matthew Centeritz, excuse me, in the 5K at the Peyton Jordan Invitational back in early May over in the US. Matthew Centeritz being the 1500 metre Olympic champion, so he really announced his name on the international stage by beating him in that race. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do here over 3K, over a slightly shorter distance.
Cross-country runner.
It is fast, 1:32 there through 600 metres, and already you can see that the field is very well spread out. A couple of Irish guys in there, Rory Chesser from Ennis.
Just break away for a moment. The presentation for the women's 3,000. Big smile from Sheila Reid as the gold medal goes around her neck. Big smile as she had on the track afterwards as well. Nicole Tully second, Laura Paquette in third position in the women's 3,000 metres. Canada, America, America. Very international flavour to the meet tonight. Athletes from literally from all over the world competing here. And it's still Jack Rayner who's taking them out in this men's 3,000 metres. Just over 5 laps to go. He's ahead of Luke Traynor, who's in behind him. I think Traynor initially was meant to be the pacemaker, but Rayner is actually taking it out himself.
I would imagine Traynor will take over from Rayner at some stage, and that will still be considered to be the pace. Birmingham is lurking. Buchanan Reid is lurking. Very, very good field. And Tanoso from Ethiopia. He ran the 5,000 in Santry last week as well. He finished behind the two boys. Maybe 3,000 suits him better. But you can see the way they're stretched out, that they're not anxious to move up on a shoulder. They're happy to be towed along, and the pace is very, very strong. They're going to go through 1,200 metres now, and 3:04, that's really good pace, just 61.5. We're talking 8:40 type pace at the moment. So who said there's a wind out here? These guys can't see it.
My notes are blowing all over the place, so I can confirm that
there's definitely a wind here.
And as predicted by Dick, Luke Traynor has taken it on here. Unless there's been a swap of numbers, I think there probably has been a swap of numbers.
I think there might have been, because I was bigging up the pacemaker there a lot, so I'm embarrassed about that. In number 76 there, Collis Birmingham, the Australian, is just hanging back there in second place. Interestingly about him, Dick, I don't know if you know, that he actually paced Eliud Kipchoge to that sub 2 minute marathon attempt there back a couple of months ago. Collis Birmingham was the pacemaker, so very, very experienced athlete. He's been to 2 games, 2 Olympic Games and 4 World Championships, so he knows exactly what he's doing. He'll have a race plan. He'll be sitting on that shoulder for a reason.
Yeah, he's a magnificent build of an athlete. He's strong and he's rugged and he's so consistent over so many distances. He was actually 8th in the World Cross Country Championship one year, so if you can imagine, probably there was 3 Kenyans and 4 Ethiopians ahead of him. So he really is a class athlete. He's in second place there. He's committed to this race, but he has been closely monitored, let's say, from behind by Reid Buchanan.
Yeah, it is close as they come down the home straight here. Jack Rayner has got company. Reid Buchanan there in third position. Collis Birmingham, the tall figures of Birmingham and Buchanan, and just behind them then the smaller figure of Hiko Tanoso of Ethiopia. These 4 have made a right break with just under 3 laps to go.
I think Luke Traynor has as good as said, I am a pacemaker, the way he moved out there and beckoned for Collis Birmingham to come through. So I don't think there's a whole lot left in Luke, and shortly Collis Birmingham will find himself in the lead. How he reacts to that, it will be interesting to see, because can he break the field? Here he goes now. Let's see what happens.
So it is Collis Birmingham of Australia who takes them on from Reid Buchanan and Hiko Tanoso of Ethiopia. The 1, 2, 3. Birmingham, big Australian from Melbourne, competed at the Olympic Games in 08 and in London in 2012. Vastly experienced. Reid Buchanan, who was athlete of the meeting here last year, in second position from Kansas, and then in third Hiko Tanoso, who ran in the 5K at the Morton this week, ran 13:52.72.
Tanoso is very interesting. He was a long way behind Collis Birmingham over 5K, but yet he looked quite comfortable in there behind those 2 very tall men, and he's getting nicely sheltered as they go down the back straight. Collis Birmingham is doing everything he can now to break the 2 guys behind. I'd imagine he's getting a little bit frustrated and annoyed. He's not sure how strong they are. He's not sure what he has to do to get rid of them, and it's an awful situation to be in. When you're front running, you're running scared, and that's what Collis is doing at the moment.
Just how do you mean you're running scared? Just explain that to me.
Because you've committed yourself. You're out there. You're not going. If he goes back to second, he's beaten. So he has to keep going. He's not sure how he can sort of measure his effort right through to the finish, and the 2 boys behind may be hanging on. He wishes he could ask them the question, are you hanging on, or will I go, is it worth my while, or whatever. But here he is now with a lap to go, and
There is a big screen at the end of the home straight that he might just have had a little glance up at just to see what the other two behind him were looking like in terms of their freshness. Reid Buchanan in second place, the blonde figure, and then Hiko Tonoso of Ethiopia in third position. It looks like it's going to be 1, 2, 3, but from these three, with 300 metres to go. Collis Birmingham still leading them out, a two-time national champion in Australia. He's competed at the World Championships 4 times, but going down the far side now, Reid Buchanan has made his move, and Tonoso of Ethiopia is still there as well. Looks like Birmingham's bolt might be shot as Reid Buchanan takes it on. He's got Tonoso right behind him though, and he's tenacious is Tonoso. Buchanan, Tonoso, Birmingham, 1, 2, 3, and I wonder, has Buchanan done enough?
I don't know if you noticed there, but
fighting back.
Tonoso nearly tripped up Birmingham, and Birmingham now is cross. He's annoyed, he's angry because of that, and that actually has provoked him into a great effort, and he's really driving at Reid now. Can Reid hang on?
Birmingham is fighting, but Reid is just going to hang on to take the win. Fine effort from Collis Birmingham, fighting his way back when it looked 200 metres out as if he was out of it in terms of challenging for the win.
You know what? That's what racing is all about. Times just didn't matter over those last few laps. There was 3 guys, all 3 thought they could win, and look what it came down to. Who would you put your money on to at this stage? It wouldn't be Birmingham. He didn't win it, I know, but he came darn close.
He would have given you a run for your money, as they say in the racing trade. But strong from Reid Buchanan as well. He won this race last year. 7:52.49 was his time then. Looks like he's beaten that. 7:50.27.
As a front runner now, Birmingham will be really browned off. He won't even feel like shaking Buchanan's hand. That's the way it works in this game. Your man just sat and sat and sat, but at the end of the day, he won the race.
Good strong finish towards the end as well there.
The presentation party will include Mr. Bill Allen, the chairman of the Cork.
You have to say Collis Birmingham always gives value for money. He's always up there, and he runs such honest races.
Let's go to Mark. Second win in a row and another great match.
Anywhere else, you know, I can't win anywhere else, but here it seems like, you know.
Another great matchup with Collis as well, and you held on at the end to great effect.
You know, he whooped my arse last week at one game, so I had to come back, and I knew he'd be strong, but it just felt good, I guess.
Congratulations, Reid.
Is that athletic terminology? He won my...
He whipped his arse? Maybe he spent a lot of time here in Ireland. He was in Morton and he's been here twice, so, you know, maybe he's getting in with the lingo.
Well, the sun may be setting in the Cork Institute of Technology, the venue for the Cork City Sports, but the action continues, and we have a couple of smashing races coming up now. The 200 metres for men, sponsored by DPS Engineering, is the next event on track. And again, it's a stacked race.
Yeah, we're seeing a number of the men that we saw in the 200 metres, I should say, earlier on. Alonso Edward, as we've mentioned a number of times, from Panama, is in lane 6. That's number 379. That's Brandon Carnes. He's from the US. He's run at 20.25, so very quick time. He could be one to watch. I think it's going to be a pretty even race. There's no real standout favourite.
Leon Reid in lane 5.
Yeah, Leon Reid in lane 5, who's fresh off a new PB of 20.38 at the British Trials only 2 weeks ago. He competes for Northern Ireland. He's here in his Monapians vest, Monapians of Wexford, coached by Shane McCormack. So he'll be one to watch, definitely in the middle lanes. Number 385 in lane 1, that's Leslie Libokeng from South Africa. He actually ran a new personal best of 20.27 only last week in Belgium, so he's in very good shape, going on his most recent form.
Lebo Sesele in lane 1 of South Africa. Ryan Shields in lane 2, Jamaica. Antonio Infantino in 3, Brandon Carnes in 4, Leon Reid 5, Alonso Edwards 6, Sean McLean in 7, and Yoshihiro Somea on the outside in lane number 8. This is the men's 200 metres. He's in lane 7, and the Japanese Somea out in lane 8. And this time they are away. Good start by Brandon Carnes in lane 4. He's made up the stagger on Reid outside him already. And he's going well. Also, Antonio Infantino going well in lane number 3. And on the near side, Sean McLean in lane number 7. On the inside, on the outside, it's taken by McLean.
Looks like it was a 1-2 double for Sean McLean. 20.55 showing on the clock. Really easy run-in for him. He nearly kind of went unnoticed. Didn't have the best of starts. He's quite tall, quite big out of the blocks. Alonso Edwards is in lane 6 and didn't really have a great race, so it kind of make you think he wasn't running as fast as he really was. But really powered around that bend and down that last 100 meters. He really used his power and used his long strides against the rest of the field, and last 50 meters he just had it tied up and didn't really even have to go into a 6th gear.
Good effort by Brandon Kearns. He went out hard and maybe a bit too hard early on. But he held on just for 2nd place. Close for 3rd as well.
Yeah, close for 3rd might have a better idea here. I think Leon Reid may have just snuck in for 3rd. Didn't have the best of bends and really made up a lot of ground in that last 100 meters. So that was good for Leon to do that in front of a adopted home crowd, I suppose, at this stage.
I did hear something about the fact that he may be considering going back to representing GB. That I suppose that's something that remains to be seen in the future.
Yeah, I would know Leon, and he's quite vocal on social media, and there's been a lot of ifs and buts and what's he going to do with his, his 3rd place. He has qualified technically for the British team for the London Trials or the London Championships, but it looks like he wants to stay running for Ireland. I suppose with running times like that, he's guaranteeing himself spots on teams. Whereas in the GB team it's much stronger.
Okay, let's go to Mark. He's with the man who's done the double tonight, Sean McLean.
Sean, you ended up doing the double, as Connor's just said on commentary. How does that feel?
It feels real good. I knew it was a tough feeling, the 100. The 200 my better event, so I was more confident.
Yeah, tough as well to run the 100 meters twice.
Yeah, luckily I heard the second gun, so I shut it down earlier than some of the other guys, but regardless, it was a great field. I was just happy to get the win.
Commanding performance in the 200 from you, though.
Oh, yeah, when you run at the type of trials that the USA has, every other field is like a little subpar, but USA trials is like almost like a world championship, so I'm always ready for a 200.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Well, he's a happy man, and why wouldn't he be after doing the 100-200 double? Sean McLean from America.
Yeah, interesting comment there by McLean about those US trials. A lot of them will say that that's their world championships, because if you make the team, that's the hard work done.
Coming up now is the men's mile, sponsored by Johnson Controls, and in lane 4, Leo Manzano of America, a silver medalist at the London Games over 1,500 meters. He's in bib number 4. Leo Manzano, he's got Patrick Tiernan beside him there, the Australian who competed in Rio at the 5,000 meters and is an impressive performer. Sam McEntee on the inside. And Sean Tobin, who ran a very, very good race at the Morton Mile, 3:58.70, breaking the 4 minutes with some comfort in the end. Sean Tobin wearing number 13. Robert Dominic, the man who won the Morton Mile, is in this field as well. Keep an eye out for him, unless he's shaved it in the meantime. No, he hasn't. He still has the moustache. Yeah. We'll call it the Dick Cooper moustache from now on. So this should be a good race day.
Oh, we Irish, we love the mile, and what a field we have here to finish off the evening. Really competitive. You know something, I have a sneaking suspicion for a guy called Stuart McSwain. He won the 5,000 meters in Morton last week, and he was really impressive. And when you're running well over one distance, often you can duplicate that over so many other distances. Sean Tobin is the latest Irishman to break 4 minutes for the mile. Sean is in 4th place there at the moment. 3:58 the other night would have been the culmination of a dream for him. He's been a long time knocking on the door of that 4 minutes, and he came up the straight like a man possessed in Morton the other night. In 3rd place was the winner of the Morton Mile the other night, Robert Domanich, however you pronounce that, Domanich.
It's Ali Hamdi who's taking them down the home straight here. He's our pacemaker, Belgian, Ali Hamdi. Just beside him, and behind him, Amin Kadiri of Cyprus, originally from Morocco, and then Robert Dominic just behind him. Sean Tobin is well to the fore as well, in 4th position in the green and white singlet, and just behind him Brian Schrader of America.
Yeah, the pace wasn't amazing. They went through the 400 metres there in about 60 seconds. A mile is 1,609 metres, so it's a little bit difficult on a 400 metre track. You notice that they start about obviously 9 metres back from the actual finish line to make that up. So it's difficult to get the exact splits of the 440 yards, which is in the old linear sense it is. Pacemaker's doing a good job. The field is a little bit reluctant to take up the ante.
Leo Manzano, the man we were talking about, who has the silver medal from London in 2012, is well back in the field. Maybe he's just taking some shade from the wind, which is still pretty strong here in Cork. Pacemaker Ali Hamdi still taking them on. Patrick Tiernan, the tall figure from Australia, has loomed up and pushed himself into second place, just ahead of Robert Dominic, and still going very well. Sean Tobin running with confidence, as Dick was saying after that tremendous race in the Morton Stadium. Sam Prakel of the USA just behind Sean Tobin in 5th position at the moment.
Yeah,
Sean just been strung out a bit at the
Sean is doing it. Sorry, Con. Sean is doing everything right here now. He's hanging on. The race has started now. The pacemaker's about to jump ship, and the race is really on. Domanic in 3rd place. Looks like he has a double on his mind. He's very well poised. The rest are stretched. My friend, the 5,000 metre man, would want to start moving up, but he's about 7th or 8th at the moment. They're coming up to the bell now, so it's
500 metres to go. Time for the pacemaker to look over his shoulder and maybe feel that his job is done. It's still Patrick Tiernan just behind him, Robert Dominic, and also Sam Prakel in the dark colours now, up into 4th place. Well, he's into 3rd because the pacemaker is gone. And Sean Tobin of Ireland in 4th. So it's Tiernan, the man with the Irish name, but he's from Australia, in the lead from Dominic in 2nd place. Pushing up on the outside there is Prakel. He's putting it to them, with Sean Tobin trying to hang on to their coattails. Stuart McSwain now, the man that Dick was talking about, who won that 5K in the Morton Stadium. Slim figure is up into 4th position.
Tobin's running a great race. He's really hanging on tough there, but the first 4 now have got a little gap on Tobin. It's between the 4 of them. Domanic is still there. He's about to make his move off the bend. McSwain is tracking him. Can the leader hold on?
It's still Sam Prakel from Oregon who leads them down the home straight. He's got a gap coming hard now. Here's Sam Prakel, but Stuart McSwain in 2nd place is finishing like a train. McSwain is nearly up there, but didn't quite make it. Sam Prakel held on. Fantastic finish by Tobin as well. He raised his arms aloft as he crossed the line. A great finish by Sean Tobin. 3:55.91. Smashing finish to that race. Sam Prakel, the 22-year-old from Oregon, finished 3rd in the Morton one.
Yeah, Sean Tobin could have bought himself another PB there, which is making up a fantastic week for him. I'm glad I didn't put the house on McSwain, but it was close.
Again, he gave you that run for your money. I mean, he came very hard at the end, but in fairness to Prakel, he held on very well.
Oh, it was a great race, great race. Another 3:55. Let's have another look at it.
Dominic maybe feeling the exertions of his win just over the last couple of 100 metres. You can see he's struggling there, coming down with Prakel digging deep.
And look at Tobin, look at the way he dug deep. Got past Domanic, who beat him the other night. Fantastic run by Tobin. I'm sure he must have 3:57 maybe.
Which would be 2nd inside the time he ran in the Morton Stadium. Great performance by Sean Tobin, the man from Clonmel Athletic Club, running for Ole Miss University in America now.
Now, Sean has always been, you know, had held high expectation. He had a magnificent schools career. Every college in America wanted him. He eventually went off to Washington.
Okay, we're just going to hear from the winner now, Sam Prakel. I think Sean Tobin might be there as well.
Tried her strategy and go a little earlier this time, so I went forward, and yeah, I'm happy the way the race played out, and happy I got a PR.
And where does this set you up for the rest of the year, I guess?
Well, I have one more race in Belgium at Houston, so hopefully run a fast 15 there, and then it's back to Oregon for one more year. So yeah, I'm excited.
Worth the trip then to Cork?
Worth the trip, yeah. Thanks a bunch.
Okay, thanks, Sam. If you stay with us, I've got Sean Tobin here. Okay, Sean, you must be happy with your recent form and another good performance today.
Yeah, very pleased with that. It's like been racing every week kind of just since the Kenny Morton Games and McHale at the weekend, and every week I just feel like I'm getting sharper and sharper, and I just, those last few races just kind of lack that sharpness really, and it's coming. So very pleased with that run.
Yeah, backing up good performances as well. And can you describe what it was like out there today?
Yeah, I got out early and it was like I said before, I needed to be more aggressive. My last few races have been at the back of the field, so it's like just get up there and go for it. Like, if it doesn't work out, doesn't work out. If it does, it'll pay off. So I knew I had a kick as well, but kind of just let back too much, trying to save a bit. I just gave the guys too much, but pleased with the effort.
Okay, great stuff, Sean. Congratulations.
Well, he will be thrilled with that, won't he? I mean, that was a tremendous, tremendous finish by him, and his reaction as he crossed the line, lifting his arm, you knew that it meant something to him.
Yeah, I mean, to have only ran a personal best within the last week, to come back out and run close to it again is a huge achievement. I mean, it's unheard of. Usually if you run a personal best, it's very, very hard to back that up. So to run 2 really consistent races like that just bodes well for the rest of his season. I had to have a bit of a giggle during his interview. He's been in America for a few years now and he has not lost his Clonmel accent one bit. So, yeah, hopefully that means that there's just more and more to come. I don't know, is he going to run our national championships at the weekend? But if he does, that would be, you know, it would be great to see if he could run another fast time.
I'm sure he will. He'll have winning a national title on his mind there now. He's a racer. He loves to get out there and compete. He could be our next great miler. There's something about him. He's competitive, he's strong, he's tough. He's always had great pedigree. His development in the States maybe has been a little bit slower than people would have hoped for, but would he be on his 4th year at this stage? I'm not sure, 3rd or 4th anyway. You know, when you survive a while out there and you mature, then it can really happen for you. And he's obviously benefiting from the competitive environment he's in out there now.
Your man, Stuart McSwain, the Australian who finished 2nd, he is only 22 years of age, Dick, and he looks like he's got a lot of improving in him.
Oh yeah, that was a great run there tonight, coming off that 5,000 metres from last week. So, you know, great week for him. He'll love Ireland.
We see the Sean McLean receiving his medal after his double, having won the 100 earlier on and went on to win the 200 metres. We heard from him and he was very pleased. So that wraps up our coverage of the Cork City Sports. 66th year it's been running. They've had some smashing racing here tonight. Beautiful weather, great crowd as well in. Thanks a million to Jesse and to Dick for their company in the commentary box. Hope you enjoyed it at home as well, and we'll see you very soon.